Well, hi everyone, my name's Eeshi-Ra Hart and I am super passionate about the power of sound to bring healing and transformation in our lives. And today I really wanted to share about an experience I had going back almost 10 years when I was first recording the Unity Codes, which is my first sound healing audio that I created. And this is using tuning forks tuned to frequencies which key into the prime number cross, which are the codes of creation. And I was recording this with Fabio Garces, and he was producing the audio with me. And I was going to his studio one day, and on the way I decided to pick up a bit of power food, and I knew that I was probably going to be in there for hours. So I chose to get an egg sandwich, and I don't normally eat eggs, but it was one of those days where I'm normally vegan at home and I just needed a bit of power food to last me for as many hours as I was going to be away from home. So I go and pick up my egg sandwich, get to the studio, and while we're setting up, I eat this sandwich. And within about an hour of eating the sandwich, I started throwing up, I started having really bad diarrhea, and within a few hours I was just completely wiped and I couldn't drive home, even though I was only an hour's drive from the studio back to mine. And at the time I was just feeling so awful, and my producer Fabio, he said, well, why don't we sort this out with sound, because there are frequencies for every disease. And I've known about this for a long time from Royal Raymond's wife's work, which is tuning into what's called the MOR, which is the mortal oscillatory rate, which is basically the frequency at which, it's a bit like a key to a door, the frequency at which the cell membrane of pathogens that cause disease explodes, and basically it kills the pathogen. So at the time I felt like, well, I don't even know what I've got, I don't know what kind of bug, and there are many frequencies for every disease, and even each disease has many choices. So I felt I was really unable to decide A, what pathogen I'm looking for, and B, which frequency. So anyway, I couldn't drive home that night, and so we didn't do anything with sound, and I ended up having to stay over at the studio. Anyway, the next day comes, I'm really still wiped, I've not been able to keep any food down, I'm just drinking water, and I'm feeling increasingly weak. And so we continued working on this sound healing audio, working with difference of 2 tuning forks, giving 111 to the brain, which also helps reset us, rebalances the hemispheres of the brain. And it's really good for uplifting your mood, because 111 hertz stimulates beta endorphins. And it's also good for stimulating the part of the brain that relates to empathy. And it does help us step out of that fight, flight or freeze that is present in the reptilian brain, because 111 is actually the main firing frequency of that part of the brain. So we're continuing working on this audio, and I'm not getting any better. And Fabio again says to me, well, why don't we, find out the frequency and sort this out for you. And I really did feel unable to function properly with my mind and help myself. And it was a very unusual situation to be in, because I had an opportunity to sort myself out, but for some reason I just felt that I couldn't move past it. And so another day, another night, and I was unable to drive home. And at this point, not able to eat at all, even more weak. And so the third day rolls around, And we're coming pretty close to finishing off the audio, and it's working with gentle ocean waves which help key into the breath. It's keying into the codes of the DNA and the Fibonacci spiral, which you may recognize, and our solar consciousness. So this is an X-ray of the sun, and solar consciousness, this is like our spiritual self. You could call it Buddha, Krishna, Christ, doesn't matter, but it's basically our loving and respectful self. And it's helping us key into that, and the ocean waves help us deepen into the breath, so that as energy shifts through our body, this helps with any rebalancing effects. And you know, he said again, like, why don't we sort this out and, you know, find out the frequency? So at this point, I was like, okay, I realized that I'm not getting any better. And I pushed past my inability to feel I could help myself. And so I start looking down this long list of frequencies, and my eye stops at E. coli. And if you think about eggs, normally it's salmonella for food poisoning with eggs. And so I was a bit like, oh, E. coli, okay. And there's about 10 frequencies for E. coli. And I just intuitively felt number 7 was the one. So within 5 minutes, Fabio's generating the tone on his computer, and the frequency starts coming out through the speakers towards me. And as it did that, I could feel the sound starting to vibrate my body, and particularly around my stomach area. And it felt like it was really activating that area. And it almost felt like a scene out of Alien, where the alien was moving around inside me, and yet the sound was hitting this frequency at which it was actually killing it, because I could feel this intensity building inside me, and then it was like, and then this complete calm descended on that part of my body. And within about half an hour, all my symptoms cleared. And within about an hour, all my energy started to come back to my body. And within a few hours, I was able to drive home. And I remember thinking afterwards, this felt like it was divinely orchestrated, if you like. So when I have talked about healing with sound, I can absolutely say from my own experience that sound absolutely does heal, because that has been my experience. And I'm very grateful for it, because it felt a very empowering thing. I didn't have to take any other medicine. I didn't need to do anything except breathe in these frequencies. So in the description, I'm going to leave links to Royal Raymond Rife's work to hear more about what he offers, and also DNA frequencies, which is a deeper way of working with sound. And in 2013, Anthony Holland is an associate professor and also a director of music technology, and he did a talk on finding the frequencies for clearing pathogens. And it was quite upsetting for me to see this video, in one sense, because whilst it's great to share that this technology exists, he gave no credit to Royal Raymond Rife, but there are many, many comments in the video below, because it's important for people to know that actually Royal Raymond's Rife technology has been around for over 80 years. We've actually had a cure on this planet for cancer for over 80 years. And he was a genius, and he invented an amazing microscope which could show at very, very high magnification that these pathogens were being killed by the use of frequency. So I hope you feel inspired by this video, and it is important to understand that whilst we can find the frequency for a pathogen, there are many other things to consider. You need to know where to direct the frequency. You need to know what methods can be used to get the maximum effect. You need to know maybe how often that needs to be given to the body, what time of day, because the body has different times for everything in terms of its metabolism. And indeed also things like your dietary changes, your lifestyle changes. There are many things to consider, and none of this that I am offering is any replacement, of course, for your medical doctor's advice. So please, if you are curious to find out more, so please contact your own medical doctor, or indeed your own natural holistic practitioner, who can guide you in the best way of zapping your body and working with frequencies which absolutely clear what is going on inside your body. And from one of the video links that I'm going to share with you, you can actually clear pathogens within about 20 seconds to about a minute. So it doesn't have to take long to heal your body. It doesn't need a complex series of medicines, and I love that. I love that healing can be readily accessible to us if we go searching. All the very best to you. Wishing you a loving and peaceful day. And I hope you feel inspired to bring sound as a tool into your life to create more happiness, harmony, and health. Thanks for watching.